delivering value with integrity, exploring great books worldwide. Hi, this is Sally's Book Club. Today we're exploring the book Be Your Child's Best English Learning Planner and subtitle The Complete Roadmap for Chinese Children's English Acquisition. In today's globalized society, English learning is starting at increasingly younger ages. In major cities, some parents enroll toddlers in English classes before they've mastered Chinese. But does this approach truly benefit children's language development? What's the optimal way for children to learn English effectively? Author Guy Xiaoquan, an English graduate from Beijing Foreign Studies University and senior editor at FLTRP. His son, Xuan Shuang, has won multiple English competition awards, becoming an exemplary English learner. First published in January 2015, this book has been reprinted 9 times to date. It helps parents navigate the complex landscape of English education with scientific methodologies. Let's dive into planning children's English learning journey. The book's content will be explored through 2 key questions. First, what's the best approach for children's English learning? Second, how should parents structure their children's English education? Let's begin with the first question about optimal learning methods. Chinese children typically face 2 paths: language learning versus natural acquisition. The traditional learning approach involves conscious language study and analysis. Most post-80s and 90s generations learned English through this school-based, exam-oriented method. In test-driven environments, children focused on vocabulary memorization and grammar drills. This lack of speaking practice results in what we call mute English. Even top students eventually lose their English proficiency without consistent practice. The alternative path is second language acquisition. So what exactly is second language acquisition? SLA refers to naturally acquiring a non-native language through environmental exposure. For Chinese children, this means learning English through immersive daily usage rather than formal study. Just like how children naturally acquire their mother tongue through daily interactions. Simply put, SLA mimics native language learning patterns. Children naturally absorb language through environmental exposure without formal instruction. Native language proficiency remains consistent across individuals, regardless of academic success. With increasing globalization, more parents plan overseas education for their children. Many aim to cultivate bilingual abilities from early childhood. Achieving true bilingualism requires adopting SLA methods from young age. Different learning approaches yield dramatically different results. 5 years of study can produce vastly different proficiency levels based on methodology. The book illustrates this through 2 contrasting cases. Case 1, Dao Du, an 8-year-old Beijing native who started English with native tutors at 3. His non-English speaking parents provided extensive, authentic English materials. Through complete immersion, Dudu achieved native level fluency by 8 without formal drills. Case 2, Long Long, a 13-year-old from provincial capital city, began English at 8 through intensive test prep cram schools. His routine focused solely on textbook memorization and exam techniques. Long Long is overwhelmed by middle school entrance exams, leaving no time for English immersion. Despite 5 years of study, Long Long can't comprehend original English animations. His English communication remains halting and awkward. This demonstrates acquisition as the optimal approach for children's English learning. Note: the natural sequence of listening, speaking, reading, writing must be maintained, just like our mother tongue development. Listening first, then speaking or reading, finally writing. So when is the optimal time to initiate second language acquisition? This timing question preoccupies many parents. There's ongoing debate about ideal starting age for English learning. Based on research and parenting experience, Guy recommends age 3 as ideal starting point. My specifically age 3. Prior to 3, focus should be solidifying Chinese language foundation through daily interaction. Native language development primarily occurs through family communication. Bilingual education before 3 requires exceptional parental English proficiency. Systematic English learning before 3 risks compromising Chinese development. Children aged 3 to 4 show natural receptiveness to English exposure. Older children, 5 to 6, often reject simple English materials due to advanced Chinese skills. They can already comprehend complex Chinese literature like Journey to the West. English graded readers then seem childish compared to their Chinese capabilities. Thus, age 3 is scientifically optimal for balanced bilingual development. Now, SLA theory provides fundamental framework to avoid common pedagogical pitfalls. Understanding SLA principles equips parents with essential guidance. How should parents practically apply these theories? This brings us to our second crucial discussion point. Guy's methodology combines SLA theory with longitudinal study of 100 learners. Through research and practical application, Guy developed a 10-year English acquisition roadmap for Chinese children. Starting at age 3 and continuing through age 12, this plan aligns with critical middle school transition years. A decade-long journey begins now. Let's examine this decade-long strategy in detail. What parental roles are crucial in this process? Ages 3 to 5. Focus on auditory training and basic conversational skills. Some parents play English recordings to infants, calling it ear training. This violates the comprehensible input principle, I+1 theory. I represents current proficiency level, +1 indicates slightly challenging material. Meaningless audio exposure for 1-year-olds creates ineffective stress. Such methods provide negligible learning benefits. Effective listening requires 80% comprehension as foundation. Contextual guessing of 20% new content drives natural acquisition. Home environment versus classes. Where should listening practice occur? The author emphasizes 80% home-based exposure during early stages. Weekly classes can't compensate for inadequate home immersion. Systematic learning should begin after mastering 1,000 to 2,000 words. Some parents doubt, can young children really learn so many words? Through daily picture books, cartoons, and songs, 1,000-word comprehension becomes achievable. For example, parents can have children watch 15 to 30 minutes of English cartoons daily. Popular choices like Peppa Pig series or 30-minute English song sessions work well. Disney's most beloved children's songs are always crowd pleasers. During this foundational phase, parents must prioritize comprehensible English exposure. What practical tips can parents implement? The author provides actionable strategies from personal experience. Tip 1. Interactive teaching in real-life scenarios is optimal. English proficient parents should integrate daily phrases naturally. Label items during routines. These are socks when dressing. This is an apple during snacks. Tip 2. Engage in English language games together. Try I Spy, classic guessing game adaptation. Parents describe room objects in English for children to identify. Child guesses based on verbal descriptions. Example, I spy something pink for bedside pillow. Let child search for pink items in environment. Confirm correct answers. Yes, the pillow is pink. Natural vocabulary acquisition through play occurs effortlessly. Tip 3. Shared English reading sessions. Despite abundant resources, material selection challenges parents. Many overbuy top-rated books regardless of suitability. This comprehensive approach isn't necessary. No universally perfect books. Only child-approved ones matter. Select materials matching both interest and language level. This maintains children's learning motivation and enjoyment. Many parents buy original English picture books designed for 3 to 6-year-olds in English-speaking countries. These books often contain irregular vocabulary patterns unsuitable for Chinese beginners. The author recommends using structured graded reading materials instead. Examples include Sesame Street and Oxford Reading Tree series. These materials follow progressive difficulty levels, starting with single words per page, gradually progressing to full paragraphs. Parents should prioritize interest cultivation over rote memorization during early stages. Age 6 marks the beginning of literacy development phase. This stage combines listening with speaking, with initial reading and writing practice. Children exposed to consistent English environments can comprehend daily conversations, but alphabetic recognition remains challenging. They understand spoken English but can't read or write. Literacy development converts auditory vocabulary to visual recognition. With 1,000 to 2,000 word comprehension, phonics classes become appropriate. This prepares children for independent reading rather than mere memorization. Many parents remain unfamiliar with phonics methodology. Here's a brief explanation of this word decoding technique. Phonics is widely used in early English education institutions. It's essentially a decoding skill for written language. Example, decoding desk into the sound meaning connection for desk. Matching decoded sounds to existing auditory memory enables comprehension. This method ensures efficient and lasting vocabulary retention. Without prior auditory recognition of desk, repetition remains meaningless. Phonics requires substantial pre-existing auditory vocabulary foundation. Otherwise, the effort proves futile. Hence the emphasis on listening immersion. Phonics only covers 70 to 80% of English words. Irregular pronunciation words require phonetic symbol mastery. Children with limited vocabulary should combine phonics with IPA learning. And Guy recommends various phonics resources for parental reference. The popular materials include Hooked on Phonics series. Rated phonics readers like Oxford Phonics World are also effective. Shadow reading with audio recordings improves pronunciation. Early stage forced repetition hinders natural acquisition. Respect the silent period. Speaking follows vocabulary accumulation. Prioritize listening during initial learning phases. Parental guidance remains crucial during literacy development. Encourage frequent listening and loud reading at home. Ages 7 to 9 mark comprehensive skill development phase. If 3 to 6 years focused on acquisition, gradually introduce formal learning, reading, writing, grammar. Previous immersion yields noticeable progress now. Parental involvement remains essential despite school enrollment. Education requires continuous parental commitment. Balance school instruction with home practice. How can parents support this transitional phase? Select qualified supplementary courses and teachers. Quality programs provide balanced input-output environments. How to navigate overwhelming market options. Regarding local versus foreign teachers, the author prefers qualified foreign instructors for their authentic pronunciation and engaging teaching styles. Does having 1 to 2 foreign teachers guarantee quality? Absolutely not. Thorough evaluation of teaching competency remains crucial. Some institutions prioritize flashy games over actual learning. Such teachers underperform. Seek classes with similarly leveled peers to maintain progress and motivation. Parents must attend trial classes personally to avoid costly mistakes. Quality programs establish systematic learning frameworks. Home immersion remains equally important alongside formal classes. Parents should curate diverse reading and viewing materials, differentiate intensive classroom reading, 20%, from extensive leisure reading, 80%. Classroom-focused intensive reading occupies minimal time. Encourage interest-driven extensive reading for natural acquisition. Limit to 5 new words per page with contextual decibelity. U.S. children expand vocabulary through story exposure, not memorization. 5-year-olds acquire 5,000 words through narrative immersion. Contextual learning ensures lasting retention. Expand materials to include science and social studies content, recommended series, Oxford Reading Tree, Smart Dog Stories, etc. Organize materials according to learning progression. Home environment remains crucial for language acquisition. Maintain immersion through animations, audiobooks, and original texts. Master extensive vocabulary for advanced material engagement. Ages 10 to 12 Transition to advanced learning phase during upper elementary years. Maintain dual focus on structured learning and natural acquisition. Expand into social sciences, nature documentaries, and humanities content. Shift English from subject to practical tool application. How should parents support during this final phase? Be academic stress buffers while maintaining educational momentum. Provide culturally rich films, documentaries, and advanced literature. Authentic content enhances Western cultural understanding. Age appropriate recommendations. Longer chapter books at 10. Examples: How to Train Your Dragon, A Wrinkle in Time series. Preteen recommendations. Artemis Fowl, The Hunger Games. Maintain minimum 50 books annual consumption target. Ensures academic readiness for high school or overseas studies. Or principle. Sustained focus on listening and reading. Ages 3 to 6. Auditory foundation building. Ages 7 to 12. Balanced development with auditory priority. Customize approaches based on individual progress. Tailored adaptation yields optimal results. This concludes our exploration of Be Your Child's Best English Learning Planner. Find detailed notes below. Until next literary journey.